Okay, folks, let's get to it. Let's try to see if we can put together 5 consistent minutes of streaming without going offline today. Yep. It was a tech issue on Tuesday, and I don't know if it's worked out, but it will certainly be worked out this weekend. So let's not waste any more time. What's going on, everybody? Listen, everybody that's new here, and they keep coming in, and it's great to see people. Just get set up with the software that we're about to dive into right now. Okay, send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. That's how we do it. Let's dive into the program. Let's get to Bitcoin right away, guys. On a Thursday, kind of make up for lost time from Thursday. Really was a pain. Yeah, how's it going? What do you guys want to look at crypto-wise? Because I definitely want to not I want to be super quick, scrub through the top coins, start with Bitcoin. Back here at 111, back at 111, and that's been the big number we've talked about. The only thing that has not happened for Bitcoin is we have yet to generate the oversold HSI right there, which is what we said Tuesday would take shape. 111 still the number. Nothing changes. You're just kind of in that development phase, still sideways to lower. I don't think by much. Hopefully we can get a turnaround. I mean, today is it looks like a fat continuation candle, but we're close. No doubt we're close. Hold on. Yeah, I'm hoping. How's everything sounding, guys? Are we looking good? Sounds okay. Visuals are okay. Let me know if there's any issue. It's probably a full on. Just need to upgrade all my equipment, but I'm done. I'm going to do the Starlink switch over this weekend. Yeah. But Bitcoin at 111, I think is just the daily signal we're waiting on. And I talked about that Tuesday. So really, not much has changed. Not much to really get into. That's different to what we talked about Tuesday. Could it go lower? A little bit. But you guys know how I feel about the whole zone, and you know what I'm thinking daily, weekly, monthly. There's the weekly. On the weekly chart, I still say we have to recapture this kind of HSI momentum. And again, we're talking harmonic patterns, harmonic indicators, all proprietary. Okay, that's what's different than anywhere else. And that's why you're here. So the way to look at that, HSI, if we're going to get that next leg, needs to break out of this retracement downtrend of HSI at a minimum, and then the price is pretty obvious. Yep, we can get to a few of those. I can look at Render, I can look at Cardano, I can look at what else? What else you guys want to look at? More Bitcoin, of course. Great to see everybody. What's going on? Mr. Fish, David, as always, Lawrence, Joe, Doc. Come on in, guys. Yep. I guess the only thing we have to really size up is what's going to be the retracement or what needs to happen for Bitcoin to do the year-end run. Because we are, as crazy as it sounds, on the edge of October. Nothing wrong with that uptrend. Nothing changes either. Okay, so we're still in this. I think if it was any asset, you'd say, boy, that's a heck of a bull market right there. So that's it. You're just still in that channel, and that channel takes time. It's going to fluctuate. I personally think we're on the lower end of this channel, and if we're going to have some kind of resumption move, where you're looking for, even in the channel, What you're looking for is a top end channel move relative to the past 3 years. So this is just, in the middle, consolidation, whatever it is, like there, like here, like even back in here, I would say, been here before. Waiting for that launch phase. We talked about the pre-launch. For me, it's all about the 4-hour time frame. And we've got a number of patterns here back to back, just so you guys know, right? 111. We have at least 3 pattern zones. At least. And they've all held nicely. Again, we've gone back to back since the summer with the deep crab take you to the high. Type 1 came back. There's the type 2. Now are we going to go target 2 off of that crab pattern? That would be kind of maybe worst case scenario. But I'm still focused on 111. 111 was our breakout number from last year. Broke through, and I would just assume that this is the back test, retest, still looking for this kind of return behavior. If you guys go back and take a look at what we said a week ago Tuesday, it was come to 118, then down to 113, 111, and then start the stabilization for October turnaround move that gets you going. And that's still the same strategy, outlook of what we're going forward. Okay. Sure, Ethereum, get there in a second. The other interesting thing is I'm looking at the ETFs like Grayscale Bitcoin Trust in the 4-hour. Some interesting kind of just trend consolidation behavior, especially at the big numbers. Okay, remember that? We're at this 1902, 1618, 1902 zone on the ETF as well, just consolidating, but not rolling over. I mean, just holding and holding. That's great. That's been really good on the daily basis. So, still a pause. Yeah, there you go. That's a cleaner chart altogether. Just kind of pausing up here at that big 1618. So the larger process of what started maybe back almost 8-9 months ago, okay, we're trying to break that out. And that's always been for Bitcoin the 102 to 115 level. You guys know that. You guys know forever 102.5 and then 115. So we're still, we're still trying to resolve that zone, and that's fine. I mean, if it took a couple more months, I'm still not concerned, but I don't think it's going to take a couple more months. I'm thinking a few weeks, a month maybe, where, it's like that. That's been the target zone for, I don't know, since like 18, 24 months ago. Yep. I mean, really, we were thinking 1618 breakout once we really got going down here. Couple more. Cardano, yeah, pretty frustrating, right? 92 is not, they're just not taking it out. 92 keeps on being that point of resistance that doesn't want to let it fly. And it looks like this. Oh, wait, hold on. Here, let me turn some things back on here. Okay. Still the shark to 5.0, and that 5.0 is probably setting up to at least counter any kind of upside progress. A couple of HSI bearish signals rolling over. The purple diamond, guys, that's that combo diamond. I teased that last time. I think maybe another couple of days I'll be able to roll that out. And I'm thinking maybe take out all of them, just one. Have just one signal. I'll talk more about that next week, but Clearly you're getting signals there. You're getting little yellow dot, pink diamond, whatever, lucky clover. It doesn't matter. You've got enough there where at least resistance at 91, and that's what we've been saying all along. I would prefer, like everything else, to get a daily oversold reading before the launch, and you're there. Look, HSI is like this. Okay, you're oversold now, but you can't do anything until that pops out. That could take a few days and take you lower still. Cardano's been just a seesaw. 55 to 91 to 50 to 70, like that. And you're back down on this lower side, but you're oversold. Um, there's better ones. I mean, there's definitely better ones. I think you got to look even at Ethereum, what that's doing. It flashed under 4K. And we've been looking for this daily oversold to register. Not anytime soon. And I'm going to say this. On Tuesday, before we got cut off, I was saying Ethereum, and last week too, had to retest this HSI. And that was like at 40.55. Well, we did that today. We were looking for maybe some kind of a dot down here if it was real strong. I think it's going to have to just let it float. Go target one now, especially with such a deep oversold here. I mean, either way, either the HSI or T1, whatever comes first. But you're not stepping in anything just yet. I would think the T1 would be perfect. In fact, you got to look at Ethereum now. It's just this double, triple failure. A lot of reasons for people to be looking at the last, I don't know, 10 weeks and saying, okay, why not a 382? Clearly, this run that started, that was just kind of blew everybody. Well, 382, why not? Enough time has transpired here, and we've broken down structurally to say 382, like 36. And I have been looking for something to come our way on Ethereum where it would be the kind of the next jump on point. Well, it's probably there. Yeah, I was never a Lucky Charms guy. I was like a Super Sugar Crisp guy. Lucky Charms was too much red dye, number 5. But that's the deal with Ethereum. We know Cardano is still pointing down. We know Bitcoin, that has to consolidate. It's in the daily oversold. It's probably time. Well, it is time. I mean, we're got to have to get through these 24 hours, which probably says still lower. Solana, same deal. And so I think this is, let's get in front of this reaction that's going on Solana. A daily pattern at 240, weekly 227. Was that it, guys? Was that the type 2? Because by definition, that's what it should be. At least overdone for now. That was the type 2. I think it's good for at least some kind of 30-day consolidation. The 190 here. Probably it. I mean, a butterfly pattern. This isn't the nicest. It actually could also be a bat or almost a bat. It's tough. Maybe more like Gartley. Do you have a B point X? I mean, that's pulling the butterfly. That B is like a 45.50. That's 55. I mean, you could almost say something like that. And then 786. It's not the super ideal alignment, and I think software is probably reading that as the more constructive point. But I'm watching Solana down here. I think it's still lower and it's under 190. So you're looking for that next point. It's not there. The bigger question, though, for Solana is what about the type 2 deep crab? Is that just a reaction? One thing that, I'm going to switch. Hold on. Let me switch screens here. There you go. Solana on the weekly, guys, acted pretty damn perfectly off of that XA retest. Just in the last few days, finally started giving it up. But where the heck? Hold on. Let me go back to this one. Let me redo this. There you go. Yeah, butterfly on Solana too. So 190. 190. But I'm looking at the target to 227 level. It's 227.60. That was always the return target. And now, I mean, look in the last 48 hours. Really started to just kind of fall apart. I mean, geez, we were what? Monday, we were 220, 215. So keep your eye on that. I don't see anything. In fact, this 4-hour pattern at 198 pretty much failed already. Just if you're looking to get into Solana, it's not there. It's got to go through this type 2 reaction. And it pretty damn ideal. What about BNB? Like that. 1618. I think we're seeing some kind of repetitive behavior here. We're hitting targets, guys. At least for now. I mean, Binance Coin, that the 1618 at 1040 was what we've been talking about all along. That just hit. I'm not saying get crazy, bearish, nervous, whatever, but expect some kind of reaction here. I mean, these are all really classic reaction objectives. Hit the level, and even on the T2s, even if it's just a temporary move, we're going to get some kind of price reaction there. $40 million order to get long Solana at 188, maybe. I think it's lower, but I also think it's more like it's more about, can we get a daily oversold reading? That would make sense. And think of it that way. Much like what we talked about back in August. A lot of stocks, a lot of crypto. Can we get something like that? A short-lived 5-day retracement, HSI, amplified, it gets oversold by the metrics that we use to define overbought, oversold. Can we get a retracement trigger on the daily at a minimum to send it? There's the weekly, nothing there. I mean, the last weekly was April, like everything else. Weekly, maybe there's a dot this week. Definitely pause territory, guys. Render on the 4-hour, is it going to move? This is the thing about render and a lot of these. I mean, they're just kind of beautiful patterns. There's a type 2 confirmation. Render retested at like 320. XA levels 275. It just doesn't want to give it up. Doesn't want to go. I would say tap back on. And I'll tell you why. You get this kind of confirmation, guys, right here. Okay, that's ideal confirmation. T1's generated. There's an arrow. There's a dot. check back, retest, go, perfect. But it doesn't get to T1. But it does run right into a counter HSI, which sends it right back down for another price retest. That happens. How do you avoid it? You just have to monitor it. It's the one thing with the type 1 reactions that's really common, that just be aware of it. Like the fact that it's a reaction. It's yes, you can get great patterns that are the end all be all. They hit, they give you confirm and they go and they're just never looks back. But that's like 1 in 10, 1 in 20. That's like 1 in 20. The common expectation is go from there to T1. What happens a lot, and I hear it from, it's probably one of the top things I hear from traders they get frustrated about. Like, hey, I was right there. I did my work. I was right there at the proper entry, and it only went from 275 to 550, and then it was right back down to $4 or 350, and I finally got out for 50 cents when I could have gotten out for $2, $3, whatever. I mean, that's part of the deal. That's part of what, you having to manage it, watch it. That's part of the work effort. But the expectation is proper here to go to there. Doesn't get there. Still plenty of time. And always remember, 3 to 5, that's the first window. Like that. Is it reacting? Do you have confirmation? 5 to 10, what's it doing? Great. And then 30 bars. Is it progressing within that 30 bar window? Does it roll back over? All of those kind of things. Ideally, it should be at target 1, maybe even target 1 and all the way back in that 30 window if it's a really tight reaction. But render, I would say it has to come back and retest one of these kind of action numbers, which is like $3. I don't know. People talk really good about. Maybe I'm listening to the wrong people. I don't know. I listen to crypto people talk highly of this and a couple others. They haven't moved. Couple more. Like there you go. Williams. Lawrence is asking for about Tau Bittensor, which is another one. Although I think that the Tau situation, where another one where people have said, "Oh yeah, this Tau thing. It should go to." Hold on. Let me get a better feed. Oh, it's going to go to 5,000 a coin, or it's this, or it's that. It's the top AI crypto. All of it, all of that. Well, look what it's done. And again, I've been a little critical of it. Why can't I get a good chart on that? Hold on. Let me get a good chart. That's better. Take a look. We're all the way back down here. Now, I could be eating my words in the next 3 months, 6 months if it does something, but you guys tell me. What do you see here? Weekly Tau. And this probably isn't even the best data feed, but, it's a shark. What kind? It's a type 1 shark. What do we expect with that? Well, if it's a T1 and it goes T1 $sign, especially if it can't get through the next bar, prints a red arrow, those are all the early signs that, hey, I'm just a reaction. Thank you very much to go from terminal bar 177, 200-ish, confirmation was 246 to 455, but that's all I got. So now come on back down. 240, 200. But that's the read. I mean, and it's, I think on the daily, you had that. So imagine this. Dailies like this, printing multiple patterns back to back. Bat, shark, all of that's 230, 240. Where is it going? 230, 240. We just did that render. The 4-hour it's not ready. Render's not ready on even the daily yet. cubic for William because, man, you always show up, and I appreciate that. You really love this cubic thing. I have no idea. Daily's back down from, forget the E5 exponential 5. Let's just take point 0.3 or whatever. Um, had the move. And that was August, now September. So, I mean, this is crypto, guys. This is the 4-letter word crypto. I know crypto has 5 letters, but literally, this is when crypto is a 4-letter word. Because you're sitting in it and it does something, and then you don't know what the harmonic pattern outlook is, and you go through that, and then back down for target 2. I mean, look at this. Type 1, perfect. And then this time it did the type 2. There was confirmation on the first test here, but the rejection at 2 sent it back down, and now we're all the way back down. And that just keeps on happening. That just keeps on happening to 98% of crypto. So, we're talking 90 days from start, up, midpoint, finish, perfect distribution curve. This could be mosquitoes breeding, quite frankly. Goes up, mosquitoes breed, they reach their maximum capacity, and then they're back down, 886 reset. And that's with these crypto, non-trending crypto. I wouldn't really look for that until we can get a dot or something else going. You're oversold, no doubt. But look, even what Amplified did. You target 2, with that pattern on the daily, yeah. And that's the problem with it. I really think there's, we're going to get through this cycle, and the way things are shaping up, guys, it's like, I think that the crypto people that are not focused on stocks a year, 18 months from now are going to, be looking back saying, I shouldn't have been all crypto. Should not have been over focused, especially if we have to do what everyone's talking about. Neil wants SUI, and I think SUI is another one where people that I ask questions about that are in the know more than me, I think. And I say, hey, what about this SUI? Everyone's talking about this is next Solana, next this, next that. But then I look at the chart and I say, well, to me, that's a type 2 bearish shark. Would need to come to at least 308. And guess what? 315 again. Almost 308. Almost target 1 finally reached. Still hasn't resolved the mega pennant wedge that's developing here. So with this kind of just zigzag squeezing motion, maybe we just wait until it's set free and gets beyond the downtrend constraints of the last year easily. But Shark to 5.0, 308, that's been the plan. We've been sitting on this since May, I think. Really? I know I've talked about this for a while. But I would say at this point, at least 308. Daily oversold. Are we there yet? Yes, we are. Have we given an inflection out? No. So, again, going to be an interesting weekend, people. I think it's going to be a very interesting weekend. We're either going to get some kind of inflection or we get a deep dive. But look for it in the next 24, 48. I think if we don't kind of snap out of this today into tomorrow, then this starts to slide. That's the only thing. I'm kind of looking at what's happening now, and this is all HSI. I mean, here's Harmonic Strength Index, and let me blow it up for you. All right, oversold. We're hitting it today for the first time, but it's not official until that pops out. And a few other things happen, but you know you're early. Still lower, but looks a lot like what we had back in early August. So we're looking for this kind of a thing. Come in, hit here, okay, do your deal. You know, there's a Friday into the zone Thursday, the 31st, Friday the 1st, Saturday the 2nd, Sunday comes around, and then Monday. I mean, there's just, you know, that's the kind of thing you're looking for. This last weekend in July, first weekend in August, that's kind of what we've got right now. A 3-4 day little process that has to unfold. And I showed you guys a half a dozen or more that are hitting daily oversold now, which is pretty much what you want. If you want to be buying this, we're thinking, okay, the next cycle's coming, the final part of this cycle that we've all been kind of yapping about for 2 years is supposed to go, and then these type of coins are supposed to go price discovery. Well, it's on the next test, and ideally, yeah, Shark to 50 is a great continuation pattern. But is it 310? Is it 3? Is it 290? We'll know when we get the dot, but we're looking for a resolution. It's not there. Way early. Couple more. Litecoin. Litecoin's another one. I get that feeling where Litecoin someday will have its day. Not today. Yeah, it was a bat pattern on the daily, of course. And I think we were looking for this pullback, this type 1 pullback. I do remember that having multiple patterns, daily, weekly. What is not here is some kind of dot. The HSI is not triggered yet. And look, we're oversold. Here's another situation. You have multiple HSI and amplified readings, deep oversold. I mean, not only deep, but extreme. Like, amplified's ready to go almost to under 20. That's pretty low. I mean, it can get to 0, but it's usually 20, pretty low. Then the other one, HSI is under 0. That's a negative read right there. What's the combo? Hold on, let me bring in the combo really quick. Just so you guys know, hey, if you are new, you get your trials access by clicking on the indicators. Everything is on the invite only. Okay, and then you go through and you'll have all of your different My Invites. All of these are from Divergent Software. So my partner Chris has got other things that you guys can check out. Oh, I gotta really quick. Okay, before I go any further, let me tease this, guys. All right, I'm going to bring this in for a second. Hold on. Where'd you go? Let me show you the new pattern scanner. Oh, let me bring this up. There you go. Okay. Oh, there it goes. So this is the raw data. We have 0 optimization built in on this currently, but this will be the new screener. Let me see if I can blow this up, where you can run statistics on with advanced entry techniques, confirmation. Let me blow it up. There you go. Looks like that. And this is raw data. So literally just got this like a day ago, 2 days ago. I will be tweaking this with proper entries. What this currently is listed as is when as soon as it generates a T1 or T2, okay, then does it get to the target with a basic ATR trailing stop? But that's not, my point is don't look at the results yet, because this is the first iteration of just simple pattern levels. But this is what we'll be able to do once I bring in a few other things, kind of some optimization. like entry point with confirmation. Things like HSI or DOT, and then some trailing stop capabilities too. So let me do this. There you go. So few of those things are coming, and I did want to say that probably, hold on, I'm thinking early next week, we probably will have the combo indicator for you guys to test out. And I think that's going to be existing software users right now on request. Okay, so just to let you guys know, I don't want to release the statistical thing just yet until I tweak it, improve win rate, some basic internal filters. All right, let's get back to really quick. One other thing I want to look at with total crypto and total 3, and then wrap up what we're talking about on crypto. Again, today, what is it? 25th of September. Coming into essentially the next 6 weeks maximum is launch time. Now, there's total 3, no, it's a total crypto market cap. Same kind of pattern as Bitcoin. I think this is a little tighter than Bitcoin with the shark pattern. Bitcoin shark has failed. This is kind of a shark where we have 1 second confirmation. All we're really looking for is dot to dot trigger. I think we'll put one more dot in because we are oversold. Again, there's total crypto market index. Even that is oversold after coming all the way down like 4 trillion to, what's that, about 370, 3.7. As soon as this happens, again, guys, we're like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're looking for something like this. It can be a few individual bars, but we pop that out. As soon as we pop that out, then we can start looking into early next week for some kind of trigger to start the October-November deal. Can that go lower? Of course. But we're oversold. That's my point. And I said on Tuesday, I wanted to get into this and just kind of highlight the fact that, look, we have readings that are coming in. The September, I think people thought September would crash out. It, just went sideways. Markets went straight up. And now we've got this kind of sideways oversold reading that might not give us much, but other than a few more days, yeah, that's what we're looking for. Pretty close. And nothing changes. Again, all the big targets, it's just another retracement within the process. Hold on 1 second. How do I decide the entry with the pattern? Well, that's a great question. I think you're referring to, okay, what symbol, what signal? The question is, okay, we have a pattern and then we have confirmation, which is what we're using HSI. That's our primary. Okay, all of this based on relative strength, but just get the whole idea. The pattern levels define like the structural over extreme. A basic 1618 extension, guys. I mean, that is the whole premise of the 618, 1618. If you have a 1618 extension, you're usually at some point of being temporarily overextended. Again, we could argue what point, what range. That's not my argument here. My argument is structural, minimum expectation, hit a 1618 and do some kind of reaction. And on top of that, with the overbought HSI dot here, okay, then we know we mix the level with the signal. Then you've got something. I think something enough where even if it's a dud, It's going to have enough time and require very little to see whether or not you're wrong. But look, in this zone, this is crypto 3. Sorry, this is total crypto. Not surprised why people have been frustrated. We've been ping-ponging here to here, back here. Now, 2, just unable to get through this 4 trillion mark and then back down more like, I don't know, 350. We're almost there. Probably a couple more days. That's all. I mean, frustrating summer, and then while stocks explode. Mara is crashing. We could look at Mara. Again, those stocks, I wouldn't even say those are, if it's down, what's it down? All right, it went from 19 to 16, right back down. How many times has that done that? That's the nature of these stocks, guys. There's the shark to 5.0 on Mara. Ran into an HSI. Yeah, I mean, that's disappointing. I was thinking at least 20 bucks. What about CleanSpark? Because that's been the one that's been really starting to roll. Yeah, 15. But that's made progress. And again, I'm not surprised by that. In fact, I think if like CleanSpark gave you a pullback, a lot of these got to really look at them relative to where they are from the past year. At least CleanSpark broke out of the downtrend. Mara is still in that downtrend. Those are, yeah, clear differences there. You'll go long term here for Mara. Mara will continue to do that until we clear out of that downtrend. CleanSpark's better. Also goes a long way to saying, go with the trending markets. Yeah, we can look at LAC. LAC is another one that we're not surprised. We talked about it, I don't know, even maybe at the beginning of the year. Strategy's dropping like a rock too. Is it at 300 yet? 300. Great. 298, down 25. Daily, weekly, what was down there? Yeah, there's a weekly, some HSI stuff down here. And I think we've been talking about this, looking at the 310, 300 level. Some other weekly stuff is maybe 285. That's there you go. I mean, there's a retracement opportunity coming your way. 4 hour, anything? Last one was what? Was that a bat? Yeah. Yeah, I know what we were thinking for this to come back to 300 or 310. So here you go. What about Coinbase? That was like down here, like 297, 295, maybe 10 lower. That's a 4 hour. What about the daily? Oh yeah, the daily's like this. That's what it was. This HSI, 310-ish. Yeah, again, just another day. A nice day down. You want this. I mean, seriously. Every day cannot be up. And where we are relative to, 6 months or a year ago is ridiculous across the board. BMNR. Yeah, this is another stair stepper. Yeah. We talked about this Tuesday. I don't have to spend much time. I'm just saying, look, respecting dots, the downtrend here, whatever that massive mania SPAC thing was, came all the way back. We talked about how this was a nice opportunity here, got oversold with a dot, retested, and a nice push. Oversold again, dot here, but we run into counter HSI. That's okay too, guys. That's okay if we get from here or even the dot at like 47 and then you get another dot at 55. Just say, okay, that's all it's going to give me now. I think probably back 45-ish. Come back and retest some of this stuff. And last time we talked, we said, this got kind of a bat structure. If we can really break out, it would be above the B point. But that's at much higher levels. Only at that point then. But, looking for stuff down there. It's all right. It's where's that last dot? That last dot is right there at 46.75, 46.72. A couple more. We'll get to Rumble in a second. Yeah, we can go to Southern Copper. They're rocking, right? I mean, just silver, all of them. What the hell's going on? It's definitely going. Silver to the moon. Yeah, we can go over there in a second too. Yeah, I think that's, in terms of that, all of those. Let's let these stuff, when we see these daily signals, let them come in. Let them, I'll say this, Rigetti, guys, is a prime example of something that's just skyrocketed, but now look. And I'd say overextended now. So you don't have to let that one come in. That did its run. But if that's a crypto or if that's a tech stock or whatever, we see something like this and then you get some overbought readings. Now it just went off, but there, we're overbought. We've inflected. We're coming out of the zone now. So that big surge from September, that's probably done. Qubits, there you go. Quantum computing. Again, we were 15, go back up, went to 22. Now come on back down. That's the stair step. But at least for now. Again, I look this couple of days that we just entered here, guys. For sure. Couple of others. Yields are rising. All right, we'll look at that. Again, I'm not the yield story. I'm more about this as a whole kind of monetary supply growth thing. Really quick, gold, XAG or XA, or that's silver. That's silver, I think. Right? Silver? Gold, silver? Yeah, I mean, that's just amazing. Silver itself, guys, and gold story, this is not going to stop. And silver, 45.17 today. 48's the target. Remember, we got all of this to look forward to. 886 all time. No, it's not that high. It's actually pretty close to where you are now. And I think what you really want to see when we get there is kind of a smash. Doesn't have to smash all the way through, but this is the silver deal. 886. Are we there? I would say we're like right there. We're there, guys. I would say we have hit the 886 all time. Congratulations, silver. Now what? Because if this is not going to let up anything, can we even get a pause? We have to give it literally till next week. Great to see it on the month and the week. All of these bars will end up being your big 886 terminal bar. Are we back? I'm done. I'm hanging in here, guys. Let me know. We are? Are we back or no? Thank you. I better hurry up then. I'm so done with this. Regardless, they don't want you to hear about silver. But guys, silver going a lot higher. Silver's like gold, where gold was at 2000. So I'm all good with that. You know, it's still a buy. Oh, here's the updated. So since you came back, um, why doesn't silver go 1618 price discovery? Daily dot there on silver. I see what you're saying. Yeah, but look what. So the question was, there's a pattern with confirmation. Okay, and this is a good question to take. Pattern with confirmation. All right. Should we be concerned? Well, there's the T1. What am I always looking for, guys? I'm looking for the yellow dot. That's my confirmation. And that happened last week. That was at the high. That was 40, 43, 43.30. Went down a buck and a half, $2. But what happened? 3 days later, we're back at higher levels. That's a scratch. That's a scratch. And in fact, I would say today, I mean, really 3 days ago, but today is absolute failure. But we knew that all the way back here. Once you go into a T1 with confirmation, you should not be going to anything but going to target 1. And so 1, 2 bars. Take out that prior high. I mean, that where that dot is pretty much that's the end all be all make break level for any opportunity. Silver goes higher and it does the morph thing. Remember, we talked about this in June of just how this stuff, what is this? This is a bypass. It hits T1, grinds higher, higher, higher. Where can it go? 2618 is already 4560 within reach. I would say 314-ish, 3618-ish. You know, that's for this move. And all of it's not 45, guys. It's more like 49, 48 now. So that's, fail, keep going. What else? 4-hour time frame. At this point, that latest HSI at like 42, 42.30, that's it. I don't expect this stuff to come back. I mean, gold much the same way. Look at what gold did. 37.70. The only really important consideration is maybe you come back and fill the recent gap. But, gold, you just keep buying. 3,700 is now support. Remember what we were saying about 33.50 once that resolved itself? And then there's the failure. 3,500 was the failure. And silver's the same thing. We should be looking for silver to bust through its resistance and do a move like that. If this is 48, that's like 54. It's now running. I mean, it's doing something it hasn't done in decades. Sorry, but that it's now. People are waiting for this. And silver is also. I really think we should start talking about silver being a 1618 price discovery candidate. Knowing it's going to take time, but we had a massive pattern, so that helps. We're at the 886 of that pattern, so think of it like this. If it's a back-to-back pattern, there, X, A, B, C, D, and then there's 886, it should do something. Today's day 1. We literally just hit it. So, again, we've been saying silver up and continuing up. Now, what's the call? Do we pause here, 886 at 45.40-ish, or we're going to break out and do an eventual 1618 morph? which is 73, 74. And that's what it is. It is a crab structure, guys. This, for right now, it's a crab structure. Let's give it like a week. I think by early October, we will know if this is going to bust it now or if it's going to take, we're going to do a little pause here. 46. I still say this initial test doesn't stop till 47, 48-ish. We make a quick run to a high. But the larger deal of this morphing going price discovery is very real. And 45 is just a low number. Couple others, interesting stuff. Yeah, I think it is an overshoot. 50 is a big number in the same way 25K was on Nasdaq, but it's not. It's still not a big deal. Couple others. Well, silver miners like SCCU. Hold on, is that Southern Copper? Someone asked for Southern Copper. Hold on. No. Hold on. Well, check out some of the silver players. First Majestic Silver. Again, pattern looking left. Yeah, perfect one. Shame it didn't have so close to being a perfect type 2 there. But this has got, seriously some possibilities. I would just look for 4-hour pullbacks off of that monthly. Silver miners, are a good idea. But you got to wait for a retracement pullback. Like this has already doubled since May. But can we get a pullback, like a type 1 and then go again? That's one. The other one is CDE, but that's already moved. 18, it was 5 back in May. So you guys get the picture. I would just kind of line them up. You can't do anything here. You can't. But if the larger silver story is real, and I do think it's real in a way that hasn't been real in a long time, now look at the history of it. Like CDE here. Tell me what you think. That's been around 30 plus years. So look, it was around in 1980, and 1980 was pretty much the last cycle. So if this is a massive turnaround, then the whole range, I would say even just like intermediate multi-year highs are obvious targets. First one, 18, $20. Then, next is like 40. But this is a classic long-term turnaround. Someone asked me about LAC. We had that big pop. LAC something, Lithium America. Look at this. Remember that monthly? I talked about this pretty much beginning of the year. And 398 XA level. Big announcement. How did I know? I didn't know, guys. All I knew was a big pattern. Lithium miner in the United States. And then check out all of the bells and whistles that went off. And I think this is a great one. T1 is 1217. That's the target. But what's the problem with this? Well, it's a monthly chart. So your original T1 triggered all the way back here, February 24, 16 months ago. Great pattern. I remember first talking about this, but the confirmation finally came down here. And that was around $2, 2 and change. And what happened? You got a dot. And then you spent the better part of 6-8 months retesting that same area before this happens. But it's big. And that is exactly why we have done the software the way we have. We've also, a lot of the tweaking and kind of optimization is to get to stuff like this. So, you can only get that is if you get the software. So get the software trial, send your trading username to hpc at sr-analyst.com, and next person to type in HPC30, I'll give you 30 days. But get with that, okay? Now why? Everything that I've been doing, I try to focus on the bigger markets, but then highlight the best patterns because I think that's what's going to necessary going into everything that's happened already this year. We have to isolate the strongest candidates. We've got stuff that are turnaround plays. We've got other things that are trending. This is a turnaround play. The most frustrating part of these kind of setups is having to wait through non-action to get to some action that gives you a greater degree of certainty. A month or two ago, I was just saying, give this time, give this time. And this was the actual downtrend line that I drew. And I think it was like May or June we were talking about it. I just said, hey, this has to get past the downtrend line and give you a little turnaround. Well, there you go. There are other ones. There are lots of these. They take time. Couple others. Yeah, I'll get to rum. Hey, Ola, you win. Ola wins, and so you got to send me a note. DM me with your TradingView username. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Go to the Discord here and DM me your full name, TradingView username, and password, and email address, please, in the Discord, and then I'll connect with you. But there are several of these that I talked about on Tuesday before I got cut off, and we should be isolating more and more of them. I think there are a lot of low floaters. This is one of the ones that I mentioned last time in the quantum sector seals. Okay, this is another turnaround play. This is a lot like Rigetti before Rigetti did the move. Qubits and the rest of them. But here you go. Bad pattern, confirmation, type 1. All right, that's almost done. Looking for this for the retracement for the type 2. It is not yet, but this is an ideal candidate that did the first thrust, now do the confirmation move, and let's go again. And there are several. Some of the low floaters that I mentioned before. There are some things that things that we haven't seen in a long time starting to get life again. Like here's this fuel cell. This is this F cell. And shark pattern down here. Confirmation. Okay, took 2 shots. Now, I've been telling you guys to avoid these low floaters for a long time until recently. And so I think now you can start fishing for stuff like this. Was it Plug Power? Yeah, that was the other one. But this had I think this was like a weekly. There's a few of these. One or two more. Talked about this one last time on semiconductor. This is a bit better. So weekly. But look at that, type 2 crab pattern. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a low floater, but that's been in a downtrend for a while. I'm liking the type 2. Give me confirmation down here and then seriously look at that. I'd said Warner Brothers Discovery last time. That was another one that again, really great setup. John wants to look at Rumble. And Rumble, yeah, that was... Remember? Type 2 everything, $7 on the daily like this. There you go. Yeah, we're looking at that on Tuesday. I'm looking right here. 722. What was it? There's something on the weekly, I think. Maybe it says HSI. Yeah, I think that's the only thing. There was something else we're looking for, like a retest. What's that? The low is 705, $7. So yeah, all that down there. I like that. I like Rumble, and I like the big patterns down there. Big type 2. I mean, that's an ideal type 2. I think the only thing with that was it might be just waiting on the weekly here. But I would even say, start a little bit right here at 722. $7 is the number. 785 is the XA level, somewhere 7 to 785, fine by me. Is it going to run tomorrow? No. Probably in this thing, you're not expecting anything for, 30 days or more. Trying to consolidate out, but that's the kind of low floater. Oh, the other one was, I mentioned this last time. I think it was VNet, and that thing jumped. Yeah, VNet jumped. I'm going to try to feature more of these as they're happening. Not quite yet. Where was the other one? Was it Upstart? Upstart is another one that did rebound from the April lows, coming back. Where is this? Come back to that. Hold on. Adobe. Did that get back down? Sure did. There you go. Weekly Adobe. Nice Gartley. It's lacking confirmation though on the weekly. It wasn't that a big monthly though. It's a big monthly bat. Couple of HSIs down here. Obvious all-time, well, multi-year 886 is like this, and that's real close. I mean, 300-ish, 310, something like that, with a couple of dots. I mean, again, with this setup, great idea. When is it really going to move? Just be aware that you're in that constraint. Like, until you can break out of that downtrend, you might need time. Even going on like the tightest of downtrends here on this last swing like that, is it next month? You've got the dots, and I would even say it would take one green candle, one green month to kind of turn that situation on. It's a good idea, though. I like it. Kind of reminds me of Oracle. Oracle in March. Remember, Oracle had this big, amazing. Look at this. Oracle had like this shark back in April. A lot of things, or Gartley. There you go. Had a massive Gartley before this incredible run. Look, I think this move in Oracle is just mind blowing, but I'm still waiting for that to come back down. Everything, you've got triple confirmation, everything. I would love to just kind of give me 500 shares here at market, but it is overcooked. This has just got to come back down. But amazing. I mean, and continue looking for patterns like this, or even the shark pattern from August. A lot of this did set up quite well. There's a few other of these semis. Global Foundries, we talked about that last time. Nice pattern down here, coming for the retest on confirmation too. On the daily. Couple others. Bitcoin's dumping. Let's take a look. Is it under 110? 109. Check this out. Dump stream. Here we go. Here we go with a dump stream on Bitcoin. That's where, okay, this is going to, if it goes back into the zone, guys, today, that's not a good thing. We are oversold. That's got to pop out. But if that comes down, and then what, we take 2 or 3 more days down here, maybe it is a type 2, target 2 type of deal on the 4-hour like this. Maybe it is 106 off the crab. It's all about that daily. That daily, if that stays in another day or two, then yeah, sure. You come down lower. Looking for this to pop out that over the next 2 or 3 days on the daily Bitcoin. So not surprised. I mean, okay, we were looking for 118 back to like 111, 113. Now 109. We were just down at 109 2, 3 weeks ago. I don't. All in all, again, other than when is this going to do the late year run? I really still say it's the next oversold signal. So this is a whatever. That's fine. What, come back and take out 107? Who knows? And I got to say also, with the way a lot of these stocks have run, something like Oracle, we need to see stuff. You do a move like this, especially that size of market cap, where here you're 400 billion. I mean, literally, you're 600 billion, and then here you're 500 billion to 800 billion, something. That's just a crazy market cap increase in one shot that just needs to be digested back in. But look, it's September, okay, and we're at the end of September. Sets up usually a lot of times these kind of little whatever the correction is. So here comes October, and we have not done anything but go up in September. Hold on. Hold on. Here's Apple on the daily. So check this out. Apple managed to get all the way up, hit the 886. That was yesterday, guys. So reaction, or 2 days ago. Sorry. Tuesday. So 248's number, we're still 252. If we did a type 1 reaction, anybody surprised? I wouldn't be surprised. Just be aware of that. 252 currently, couldn't get through, all-time high, 886 is here. All right, let it come back. I mean, it would be a gift. Russell 2000, I think that's the same thing where you're up there with lots of numbers. It's not going to blast, not do the Hulk smash. It'll get there because remember you have all of this weekly type 2 bat pattern. Let me remove all this. Confirmation today. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Thank you. Okay. And so, guys, treat these as reaction levels. I think we're hitting limits, obvious limits the software showing us. We're printing the dot this week. It's official tomorrow. Dailies like that for Apple. So again, reject a few of these. Oh, also Tesla. 444. Remember what that was? Tesla 444. It was a Gartley at 411, but the weekly objective on Tesla was hit. 444.81. This is the software in action. Okay, we've been looking for this T2. Will it go higher eventually? Yeah, but right now it got rejected off of the XA level at 444. I started getting into that on Tuesday, and on one of the streams I got cut off. The high was 444.98. Who's in? All right. Just let it come back, do another natural reaction. It's, if anything, it's just bucking up against this regression channel. Here, go off the last, I don't know, since the low off of February. It's kind of like that. Maybe not even that wide. The point is, we have lots of levels here where they should at least pause. Doesn't have to do much, but pause. You know, there's a 4 hour, a couple of things in the 4 hour. Great. Crab pattern, 4 hour. That's all of that's like 425, 430. Come back to 373, maybe. Or maybe back to 400 retest. We're at some limits, guys. That's a BTC crashing. What's define crashing? Define crashing. 109. Okay, it's 2,000 below the 111 target we talked about last week. We were $4,000 below the 111 target at the beginning of the month. That's not crashing, guys. Okay? Pullback, retracement, sure. Which is what we said a week ago. And we have to link up people, please, when we're talking patterns, especially new folks with the software. First of all, take your time. Okay? Take a day, 2, 3 days to just observe what you know about the patterns and look for the turning points if it's short-term 5-minute or what have you. But, you know, Bitcoin here at 108.8, whatever, that's fine. Back down to where we were. Can it go lower? Yes. Are you concerned about anything other than trying to finish this daily oversold that registered 2 days ago? That's it. That's the only thing I'm looking at right now. Waiting for this to come out. And that might be, like I said when I started the stream, 2 or 3 days. It's going to be an interesting weekend. But net, you can't say it's crashing when we are back where we were back in May. And we're there for like the 4th or 5th time. All right? That's it. And I would embrace this stuff. I want to see retracements on NASDAQ, S&P 500, gold, although I don't think we'll get it. And maybe some others. Yeah, 108, 108, 109. Maybe it's 106, guys. I'm serious. Maybe it's 106 down here. 106, 126. Because that's the target 2 off of this sneaky deep crab. I know it's tough to see, but maybe it is, but I'm not really too concerned about it. The only thing that I thought was starting in August that didn't, I thought we were going to moon. Above 123, I thought we'd really start to accelerate. What happened? Smacked it down. All right, where's the next stop? Next spot, next launch point. That's all. NASDAQ making new lows, I guess, here. Under 24.5. Great. No worries. Let me see here. What do we got going on? That's Bitcoin. Let's go in NQ. NQ. Yeah, even NQ's got something. We hit the 25K mark, smack it down 1,000 points. Fine. I mean, it's a big psychological rejection, like 20K or 10K, 25K. There's a couple of things here. And I do think, look, 4 hour time frame, there's nothing, it's not much here. And it's been an amazing run. Look, this was June. I said this maybe 2 weeks ago. So that was June 21st, right there. So you tell me, since the summer, what has it done? Straight up. First day of fall. Second day of fall. Peak out, roll over. Okay, great. Retrace. Retrace before we get into October and start November. Get we're going to have a year-end run, most likely. From what point? Probably some off of somewhere in here. So embrace it. Look for it. Where are we? 5-minute time frame at the lows almost. 24 4.25. Why not? Oh, let me put extended hours up because I think we had some bearish structures that got tapped. Hold on. Long off Solana. No, why would we do long? Long at T1? No, you need some dots. Like I said, let these do their retraces. Yeah, that 660 level. Target one hit and then just roll right back down. Not even close. I thought we might tap 700 before we get out of there, but right back down. All right, this sets up for great, 4-hour time frame. What are the obvious? The 886. Again, that probably real likely come tomorrow. Swing 886 just for September, guys. That's like 24.3, 30-ish. It's still 100 lower. And you're just coming back retracing what you gained this month. Kind of like we've seen it before. Check out what August did here. Back up, not quite 886, but make your move. Come all the way back down. That's a 786. Do the 1, do the 2, and then go. Why not do that again? Do it down here, 24.3-ish. Trigger a couple of oversold readings and go. So this is just such a mild retrace. I mean, we're in the old days, if it's coming into October, people would be like, all right, where's the 10% correction going to start? Appreciate it. Yeah, look, Daniel, I think you're right. I think, look, the only thing you can do now with a lot of these plays is just wait for the retrace. Our 1618 strategy of still up continues. We've had a hell of a run all summer long. Here's yet another one. Just a minimum 4-hour retrace. And notice where it's happening. Anybody notice where this is happening? All right, take a look. 1618's there. 1902's there. 1902 was 24.8, tap 25 and roll over. And then just come back. 382. 382 swing. Just guys, this repeats over and over again. That's 24.1-ish. All right. I mean, again, it's not anything different from what we've been talking about. The long-term strategy is still looking for retracements within this uptrend, and I say the same about Bitcoin too. Bitcoin, yeah, a little bounce. Again, for me, not a biggie. Not a biggie. What's the worst case scenario that could happen here for Bitcoin, guys? Worst case scenario is that we just dive and we never come out of that HSI, and then we just continue to flush down like under 107, something crazy. Is there still a possibility? I mean, by definition, no. So I'll preface it by saying that. But is there a possibility we could still tag target 1 at 93? This would have to fail miserably. This immediate signal. All right, so that's why I'm watching that. This is what I talked about going into Tuesday. And this is still the preferred setup for everything that we want to see going into October, November. I'm thinking it's more like this or that, a nominal retrace. Worst case scenario is 75K? No, because then that would, look, if you go too far, too deep, then the cycle's over, guys. Like, the time-wise, I'd love to see a shakeout and then some kind of stimulus that runs it crazy for 6 weeks, and then you're done. You're on vacation by Thanksgiving, practically. That almost was a scenario. Maybe December-ish. Also, I have to say, with the new taxes, early January is going to be a big profit-taking week. So I would just keep that in the back of your mind. Come early January, okay, with the lower tax rates, the new tax laws come Jan 1, people will be securing profits first week of January and probably hedging into the end of December the way they can without affecting tax status until they need to absolutely dump outlying markets. That's why it's part of my rationale of why I think the market's getting close as we get to the end of the year of where, yeah, it's going to be a reaction point where, if we get to the 1618, that's going to be a major reaction point for me where it's not going to be, I've been really rah bullish for a long time. We get up to those levels, I'm going to say, hey guys, it's time to look for the retracement. Same with Bitcoin. We get up to the 160 or higher levels, and we can't follow through. It's at that point I'm going to start saying, all right, by definition, cycles should be over. Minimum 155, 160. Yes, it could go higher, but that's when I start looking. Cycle over would be the worst case. Yeah, if the cycle was over, it was now. Then you're looking at a lot of retrace, a lot of deep retrace. Yeah, check out Rigetti. I mean, Rigetti I've been watching almost as a day trading vehicle. Rigetti, it's just another one. All right, we've been talking about Rigetti since on the weekly and daily, like 11 and then 15. This was the daily thing, Rigetti. I'll show you what my point was on Rigetti, though. All right. Rigetti was down here in May, June, 8, and then here like 11 and then 15. The last two I know we were way in front of. The idea was go to a 1618 extension. Well, there it is. So 3250, mission accomplished. You're probably done now on Rigetti. You see that? We're hitting targets. Let it come back in. That, like I said, probably done. Anything. Yeah, look, HSI is giving you an inflection that will probably give you an arrow today or tomorrow. Great move. It's over for now. Yeah. Should you wait for 93K to invest? I'm just waiting for the next oversold signal, John. And Bitcoin, that's somewhere, if it's 111, 108, 106, I'm going to get a dot. And it's going to be probably over the weekend. And I did say on Tuesday, we got oversold. Now we can start looking for that to pop out of the zone. Not there yet. A couple others. What was the other one? Was it Meta? No, but here. The quantum stocks, okay, highly speculative. And here's qubits, okay? This is D-Wave Quantum. And this has done a couple of big runs. And this is yet another, just like Rigetti. Look, big surge from 6 to 18. Then back down to like 14, 13-ish. And do the wave. Now back up. Now I would expect that back down. Maybe even like 22 or 21 before I would look at that again. And you should be lining up a lot of these in the same way. How about Nvidia, guys? Like Nvidia, our big target is still 215. Okay. Short-term target was like 190. We got to 185. And I'm just thinking that Nvidia's probably in a pause, stuck between here 167 and then 185, 180-ish. But I don't think it's any doesn't go down anything more than like 165. So, be aware of that. This is probably setting us up after you get through. I think that was a post earnings. Yeah, here's the post earnings. That was post earnings. Not big, but if you're looking for the next what I call jump on point, it's probably back here, retest some dots and go. Weekly, it's amazing. Look, weekly chart is like that. Hasn't reached, and this has been our assumption. Where's that? Not 1618, it's like 145. I'm still looking for that 195. That's the 1618 minimum. All right. We're just shy of it. No dot, nothing yet, but still almost there. What was the other one? So Microsoft. Don't know. There's Meta. Not 3M. There's Meta. Yeah, Meta. We had a daily HSI, and is this not working here? Oh no, there it is. Okay, so Meta is this. Another one with another dot. Now retesting the dot back there, 740-ish. All right, that's in a better spot, I would think, even than like 2 weeks ago. And still looking for Meta to do like a 1618. This is the kind of ramping that we've seen. So many of these exploded like that. And Meta's the other one here. Down here, it's 745-ish is the exact number. So again, all these retracements, embrace them. We did qubits, or we did D-Wave. Qubits is quantum. And again, all of these have done, these are ones I mentioned this summer. They took a little while. I mean, not even that much. They're done for now. We've got to wait for them to pull back, but at a higher level. And they probably will, set up again where, look, your last setups there were April at 6 and then 14. Went to 28, probably back at like 22. All of those. A lot going on there, guys. I mean, a lot. I said this in the beginning of the session that Bitcoin. Hold on. Let's just kind of circle back. Bitcoin 109-ish. All right. Hasn't done anything all summer long while stocks have just absolutely skyrocketed. So let that be a lesson, because I think that's going to be something that will continue rest of the year into next year. Even if Bitcoin moons, stocks are going to continue to rage. Let's wait for those next retracement setups. Everything else, again, be patient. Let's get through this weekend, people. Not a lot of action to be taken either way. It's just, let's get this set up. Let's get this daily set up by Monday. Come back in Tuesday. And if we get this high level daily signal by Tuesday, which I think we will, then we can start to say oversold on the daily, look for the turn back up. All right. That's what I have for today, guys. Sorry about Tuesday, and we'll be back on next Tuesday, 12:30. Got any questions, get over to Discord. I'll get the rest of those next week, guys. Bring them in. We'll look at the dollar. We'll look at Exxon. A couple others. You have any questions, though, get me on the Discord at the following link. Until then, as always, have a great weekend and go get them.